Hey up, Sofa Squad, and welcome to the latest edition of On the Sofa with me, Mike Silver. And as you can see, it's just me uh, this evening. Unfortunately, um, due to reasons that I'm not going to go into, Will has quit the show. Um, but I just want to say, Will, if you are watching, the door is always open for you to come back when you're ready. And Brain Sample isn't with us, and Cynese isn't here either. But we've got Greg uh, in the side chat. So, Greg is our friend of the show and our $5 patron. And if you want to join Greg and indeed African Humanist in becoming patrons of this stream and see your name scrolling along the bottom there, you can do that. And there are benefits for doing so as well. And the details are in the description. And if you want to buy me a coffee, that's another way to support me. You can do that as well. And you can buy my book, Surviving 2020, which is available on Kindle. And I've got an announcement to make. I have decided to put together what I'm going to call an annual. From I started this last week, and I'm going to continue to do this every week. Every week, I'm going to be just writing a couple of paragraphs about all the news items that we talk about on the show, and compiling them, together into a book at the end of the year, and making that book available on Kindle. So that's something to look out for at the end of the year. That said, all the plugging done. Let's get into this. So let's see. Who we're going to start off with. Yes, we're going to start off with we may as well start off with the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. He's in the news this week for all the wrong reasons. Rishi Sunak, this is from BBC News. Rishi Sunak refuses to say if he uses private GP, a private doctor. This was a few days ago. He was interviewed by Laura Kuenssberg on Sunday, and and he repeatedly refused to say whether or not he uses private healthcare, and he kept insisting that it's not really relevant. But the thing is, it is a bit relevant because by refusing to say whether or not he uses the NHS, he and Greg is asking, is the Prime Minister expected to use the NHS? That's a good question. In my opinion, yes, I think the Prime Minister should lead by example and use the National Health Service. I mean, he has, since that interview, admitted that even though he used private healthcare in the past, he has now since then registered with an NHS general practitioner. But whether you believe that or not, I'll leave that up to you. But that's by and by. But it's not a good look if he is interviewed and asked in an interview on a news program on the BBC or any other news program for that matter, whether or not he uses the NHS, and he refuses to answer. And because, it shows that he doesn't have faith in the NHS if he refuses to say whether or not he uses it or not. And I think as Prime Minister, he should use the NHS, lead by example and use the NHS, and to show the people that he has faith in the National Health Service. But it is relevant because it's not, if the NHS is on its knees at the moment, and if it goes under, it's not going to harm him and his family one jot. He's a multi-millionaire. He's the richest MP in the House at the moment. His wife. It was reported that she was richer than the Queen. So if the NHS goes under, and we all have to rely on private health insurance, it's not going to harm him and his family one jot. So I think it does matter that he shows that he has faith in our National Health Service, because and also in showing that he has faith he personally has faith in the National Health Service, we can have more confidence in him as the Prime Minister to deliver his promises, that he's going to restore the National Health Service, that he's going to invest in the National Health Service and reduce waiting times, get more nurses employed and trained up, and get more doctors, paramedics, and all the rest of it. But if he shows that, like I think he has done, that he just doesn't care about the NHS, how can we trust him to deliver? How can we trust him to look after the National Health Service? Greg is saying, does anyone really think the Prime Minister will wait in lines for procedures? Again, this is a very good question. A very good question. Probably, I don't know. Probably not. Let me know in the comments if you really think the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, will wait in line for procedures with us plebs. And this brings us on to the next story. Let's get rid of that one. And right. Hang on. Here we go. If I can press the right buttons. I had it right in front of me. There it is. Yeah. So this is from the Huff Post. Rishi Sunak does not rule out striking NHS workers under new laws. This is I think this is in an interview he did with Sky News. there's the Tories are proposing new legislation which is going to, make it a lot more difficult to go on strike. And he was asked, will nurses face the sack if they go on strike? And he refused to rule this out. And we've got Stall in the chat with us. High risk anus is a pervunt. Hello, Stall. Welcome. Thanks for your input. Always appreciated. Are we heading for a general strike? Explain that, asks Greg. Well, yes. I think it's looking inevitable. It's looking inevitable because apparently unions have been getting together for talks about a day of action. When this day of action is going to take place, we don't know yet. We don't have any more details, but apparently there are talks in place. There are talks happening between the trade unions. So watch this space. No doubt we'll be talking about it on future shows. It is looking inevitable that there will be a combined day of action where nurses, you'll have nurses, teachers, rail workers, etc., civil servants, etc., all going out on strike on the same day, on this coordinated day of action that's currently being discussed behind closed doors. So I think a general strike is inevitable. Like I say, watch this space. But Rishi, 2 years ago, the Tories were clapping on nurses. Remember that? Now they're sacking nurses. They're threatening to sack nurses because they dare to go on strike for fair pay. Nurses, let's be clear about this. Nurses have not received pay in line with inflation for 10 years now, which means that in real terms they haven't had had a real terms pay cut for 10 years, and they just want fair pay. That's I think it's 4% above inflation, and I don't think that's too much to ask after everything they went through, during the pandemic, and are still going through. But now it's because they're asking for this, they're the villains all of a sudden, and they face getting sacked if they dare to go on strike. So this is the government. This is our Tory government. So I think that's another reason why I think a general strike is inevitable. It could be the only way to get the government to do their job and get round the table with unions and take them seriously. And take them seriously. So, what else have we got here? Ah, oh, our friend of the show, Andrew Bridgen. There he is, Andrew Bridgen. I don't know if you, I don't, you know, I don't know if people remember this, but I did say, we're going to hear more about him because he can't help himself. He just, I mean, I'm not a doctor or a psychologist or psychiatrist. I don't want to give him a diagnoses. But he's his associate. I'm certain he's a sociopath or a narcissist or one of those. But he's not. He can't seem to help him. He can't keep his trap shut. He's always he always has to be in the limelight, for all the wrong reasons. But anyway, he's been suspended. This is from the BBC again. He's been suspended as Tory MP over COVID vaccine comments. Andrew Bridgen has been suspended as a Conservative MP for spreading misinformation about COVID vaccine. It comes after the North West Leicestershire MP posted a tweet that compared vaccines to the Holocaust. So let me. Greg's saying nurses who work in London hospitals can't afford to live there. I think that could you could well be right, Greg. Yeah, and in fact, many nurses are having to take on second jobs to make ends meet, and many nurses are having to rely on food banks. Because they don't have a choice. But anyway, so yeah, Andrew Bridgen, he's had the whip removed. He's no longer a Tory MP. He's still an MP. So he's still taking his MP salary. Thank you very much. But he is no longer part of the Conservative Party. He's had the whip removed. But in my opinion, this should have happened a long time ago. He should have had the whip removed for all the other shit that he's done in the past that we've talked about on this show. And really, there should be he should lose his seat. There should be a by-election, and he should step down, and there should be a by-election for this. I mean, this is the straw that's broken the camel's back. Basically, he's done regular viewers will know he's done a lot of shit. He has done a lot of bad stuff, bad things. And that we've talked about. So, yeah, I'm glad something has happened, but I think a lot, more needs to happen. He needs to lose his seat, and there needs to be a by-election. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak condemned the remarks, calling the comparison utterly unacceptable. So there you have it. Even Rishi Sunak condemned him. So, but this isn't the last we've heard of him. We'll hear about him again, no doubt. But what really got to me when he tweeted this was how many, because I read the comments. Right, I read just how many people actually agreed with him. That's what scared me. Hundreds of people were saying, yeah, right on. You're right. You're absolutely right. You tell them. Tell it like it is. Preach. They were agreeing with him. This is the world that we're living in. It's scary. But we've got a lot of work. I mean, how do you begin to start this conversation? That you can't say things like that. Because you can't just spread misinformation like this. Where do you start with this discussion? I don't know. But moving on. This is really interesting, and I think this is going to be an ongoing story. This story broke a few days ago. This is from Sky News. They've made a program called Westminster Accounts, and it's available to watch on YouTube. Westminster Accounts: MPs earn £17.1 million on top of their salaries since the last election, with Tories taking 15.2 million. So in other words, the Tories are the top earners. This is, an article, a program made by Sam Coates, the deputy political editor, and Jennifer Scott, the political reporter. It says this: since the end of 2019, millions of pounds of outside earnings have been made by a small group of largely Tory MPs. The Owen Paterson scandal last year prompted some rule changes, but questions have been raised about whether they go far enough. So basically, these are second jobs. It's the way things stand at the moment. MPs are allowed to take second jobs. There are certain jobs that they're not allowed to have. For example, I'm pretty certain they're not allowed to be lobbyists. That's illegal. But they're allowed to have second jobs. And a lot of these MPs have taken on second jobs, and they're earning thousands of pounds from these second jobs. They earn, I think it's 80 grand a year from being an MP, and on top of that, they've got these second jobs where they're earning, thousands of pounds on top of that too. I think Theresa May is the top earner. She's earned millions since 2019. She's doing basically doing the lecture circuit. People will pay a former prime minister a lot of money to come and give a talk to their company, to their shareholders, or to management, or whoever, or one of their conferences. There's a lot of money to be made, doing the lecture circuit. Boris Johnson has made a lot of money, over £1 million. I think we've talked about this before. But this is again, regular viewers of this show will know that we have talked about this kind of stuff before. We've, those of us with ears to the ground, know that MPs make a lot of fucking money making second jobs, having a side hustle, if you like. We know this. And it's but now, you know, a mainstream media giant, Sky News, have finally cottoned onto this, and they've done a whole investigation into this. It's called Westminster Accounts, and you can look it up on YouTube. It's fascinating. And there's a Westminster Accounts tool that you can click on, and you can find out how much your MP is earning. And here's the scoreboard, if you like. Yeah, like I said, Theresa May's at the top there. Actually, I said Boris Johnson is in second place. I was wrong. So Geoffrey Cox is in second place. Is in 191,387 pounds since 2019. Boris Johnson is in third place, then Fiona Bruce, then John Redwood. But there's also a couple of Labour MPs in there. David Lammy, I think that's mostly from doing LBC. Jess Phillips, and Green MP John Finucane at the bottom there. Look that up. It's it will open your eyes. And they have the brass neck to say that they just can't afford to pay nurses what they're asking for, and they're making thousands from these second jobs on top of an 80 grand a year salary. And they get subsidized meals and booze, at Westminster. They get all, most of their expenses paid for. And Greg says this: can they work for a company that is involved in the things they have power over? If they're on the power board, they can work for a power company or one that benefits from their votes. Yeah, well, I think this comes under the umbrella of lobbying, and I think, I think that would be. I think this. I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure that's illegal. I don't think they can do that, but there are many other jobs that they can do, and many lucrative jobs that they can do as well. So moving on. So something needs to give, something needs to change. I think stricter rules need to be put in place. I'm not sure what the answer is. Whether MPs should be stopped from taking second jobs altogether, or what? I don't know. Again, let me know your ideas in the comments. This will make your blood boil. MP sacked over porn allegations to oversee online safety bill. This is the London Economic. So, former cabinet minister said there are major policy changes which his committee would scrutinise. So in other words, this is an MP who in the past has been sacked over porn allegations. He is now going to be put in charge of the online safety bill. Let that sink in. The article says this: former cabinet minister Damien Green has become the acting chairman of the Commons Digital Culture, Media and Sports DCMS committee. The senior Tory, who was effectively Deputy Prime Minister under Theresa May, replaces Julian Knight, who has recused himself from Parliament while the police investigate allegations of serious sexual assault. And we discussed this story before, a few weeks back. Green, who was sacked as a minister in 2017 following allegations about pornography on his parliamentary computers, said online safety would be one of the key issues the committee would be considering. You can't make this shit up, can you? It beggars belief. I'm gonna read that again slowly, so so that it sinks in. Green, who was sacked as a minister in 2017 following allegations about pornography on his parliamentary computers, said online safety would be one of the key issues the committee would be considering. You can't make it up. There he is. There's Damien Green. I don't know what to say about this, to be honest. I think I'm just gonna, I think I'm just gonna move on. Comment below what you guys think of this. Hang on, we'll do this one. Remember, Suella Braverman. I have not seen this story talked about anywhere. I only happened to see this because somebody happened to tweet it. If they hadn't have tweeted it, I wouldn't have known about this. And this article was actually published last year in November, but I only learned about this this week. The Society of Radiographers have criticized plans to use medical imaging methods on child asylum seekers to determine their age. So, in other words, the government have come up with an idea of X-raying migrant children to determine that they actually are children and not adults trying to pass themselves off as children, so that they can gain entry into this country. This apparently, according to the article, this idea was floated by Home Secretary Suella Braverman, as she promised robust new checks next year, this year, to verify the ages of migrants arriving into the UK in small boats. But guess who originally proposed this? Yeah. Her predecessor, Priti Patel. You never would have guessed. But So the Society of Radiographers have, they've rejected this. They've condemned. It says this in a statement: the SOR condemned the use of medical imaging for such a purpose on compassionate and safety grounds, adding that it would also deflect resources away from essential healthcare activities. The resurgence of this concept shows a lack of compassion to those in need, as well as disregard for radiation safety and a blatant lack of understanding and respect for the work of radiographers and the health service. And it just makes me sick to my stomach, just how inhumane this government has become in order to dog whistle to the bigots and racists whose votes they are desperately trying to keep hold of so that they can hold on to power in the next general election. It sickens me that they would, just when you think that the Tory government can't stoop any lower, they manage to do so. Is it any wonder that we call them fascists? Because this is straight from the playbook of the fascists. This is the kind of policy you'd expect from the British National Party, for fuck's sake. We need to get these fuckers out. I mean, I know. It just saddens me that I just don't think that the Labour Party are going to be that much better. But it saddens me that we're just going to have to vote for the lesser of two evils just to get these these fascists out of power. But it is what it is, I suppose. And talking of fascists, this guy, we've talked about him before. He's a on the sofa favourite, Jonathan Goulis. This is from local paper Stoke-on-Trent Live. Okay, it says this: Stoke-on-Trent MP Jonathan Goulis blasts teacher unions as Bolsheviks and commies. Jonathan Goulis says striking teachers are being cajoled out of the classroom to make sure the kids continue to suffer. Stoke-on-Trent MP Jonathan Goulis has blasted teaching unions as leaders as Bolsheviks and commies who want to make sure kids continue to suffer. Mr. Goulis, Conservative MP for Stoke-on-Trent North, and a former teacher and union rep, was speaking during a House of Commons debate on the industrial action hitting various sectors this winter. So let's just think about that for a second. What this guy is saying, let's bring him back up. There we go. What he's saying is unions who are working hard for their members to get their members a decent wage, because they want their members to have a decent wage. They must be Bolsheviks and communists. And Greg is saying X-raying children is like Alex Jones claiming the parents of children murdered at Sandy Hook Elementary School were crisis actors. Yeah, exactly. It's exactly the same. Yeah, you're right. You got it. You're right, Greg. It's just like that. And so, but back to what I was saying about Gulis. What a nasty piece of work. So this is dangerous language. This is again this is dog whistling to the racists and the bigots and the fascists. He's not even dog whistling anymore. He's using a human whistle that's loud enough for human ears to hear. He's not even trying to hide his fascism. But it's this whole othering language. It's this whole othering, dividing rhetoric that bothers me. Dividing people again and pitting people against each other. It's divisive and it's dangerous. And I really hope that this guy loses his fucking seat in the next general election. He's a nasty piece of work. I don't like him. Right. Yeah. Guess who's back again? ITV News podcast reveals Boris Johnson joked about the most unsocially distanced party in the UK. This is from ITVX. So Partygate is not going anywhere. We've said this before. We said that it's going to keep coming back to bite him in the arse, and it's biting him in the arse again this week. And the article says this: Boris Johnson joked to Downing Street staff, "This is the most unsocially distanced party in the UK right now," during a boozy number 10 leaving do. ITV News has revealed in an explosive new podcast on the Partygate scandal. The claim, aired on Partygate, The Inside Story, brings into fresh doubt Mr. Johnson's long-held position that he was unaware rules had been broken within number 10 during the pandemic lockdown. And hot off the press today, it's been revealed that some of his colleagues were pairing up and banning at these parties as well. So we had a full-blown orgy going on in number 10. So, according to this podcast, The claim, oh yeah, I've read that. The Mr. Johnson is still due to appear before a Common Standards Committee, which is investigating whether he knowingly misled MPs when he insisted all guidance had been followed at the event. When ITV News put the direct quote to Mr. Johnson, he did not deny saying it. The claim is among several damning new revelations aired on the podcast, including an allegation staff deliberately destroyed evidence of partying before the Sue Gray and Met police investigations, the latter of which would make 10 Downing Street the most law-breaking address in the country during lockdown. And I'm going to see if I can listen to this podcast, and I may even take notes, because I've got a feeling more revelations are going to come from this. So watch this space. We'll be talking about this for weeks to come. This Partygate is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Let's see what else we've got here. We've got a couple more stories here, I think, that I need to load up. Yes, we talked about that one already. Okay. Just okay. We've got two more stories to talk about. One more story from this side of the Atlantic, and then we're going to cross over the Atlantic for the last story. This is the Labour. This is about the Labour Party, and we're talking about this. We're talking about Westminster accounts. This investigation that Sky News have done. There's another side to this story. Earlier we were talking about second jobs that MPs have got. This is about where MPs are getting their donations from, and it's the headline says this: hang on. What? Sorry about that. I don't know why. See if we can bring it up again. No, not that one. Oh dear, technology. That's the one. Yeah. I won't share the screen because just in case that happens again, because there's a lot of pop-ups coming up here. A firm called MPM Connect has made donations with a total of £345,217 to 3 Labour politicians since the end of 2019, according to data compiled by Sky News and Tortoise. The Westminster Accounts Data Journalism Project from the two outlets has been reignited interest in how politicians in the UK are funded. Shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper received £184,317 from MPM Connect, while Barnsley MP Dan Jarvis received £100,000 from the firm, and Shadow Health Secretary Wes Streeting was gifted 60,900. Sky News reports. MPM Connect is the third biggest donor to MPs after the trade unions Unite and GMB since 2019. It has no staff, according to its most recent filings, and is registered at an office building at the end of a residential street in Hertfordshire. So this sounds dodgy as fuck. Not a lot is known about this company. It's a really shady, secretive company that's been donating thousands of pounds to Labour MPs. So where is the money coming from? Questions need to be raised about this. Is there a conflict of interest going on? This needs to be investigated. This needs to be investigated further. And we'll finish off with this again, because this website, this other website also. There also seems to be quite a lot of pop-ups coming up. But I'll just finish with this story. Dr. Dre calls out hateful Marjorie Taylor Greene for using his music. Because apparently Marjorie Taylor Greene released a short video where she used one of his songs without his permission. The article says this: rapper and music producer Dr. Dre is calling out Georgia GOP rep Marjorie Taylor Greene for using his music without permission, TMZ reports. Greene posted a video of herself strutting through the halls of Congress after she helped voting Kevin McCarthy as the next House Speaker, as music to Still DRE was playing in the background. Speaking to TMZ, Dre said that he doesn't license his music to politicians, especially someone as divisive and hateful as this one. TMZ's report did not indicate whether Dre plans to sue. So there you have it. Who could have predicted that the biggest beef of January 2023 was going to be between Dr. Dre and Marjorie Taylor Greene? But here we are. And on that bombshell, I'm going to say good night. If you've enjoyed this show, then please do like and share and subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you never miss another show. And I'll be back next week, hopefully with with Chinese and maybe even Brain Sample. And yeah, bye for now.